Good morning. Welcome, Facebook Live. I am Lakita Brooks, LCSW. Hi. All right, so today is going to be a little different than usual. So typically, I come on here and do the Be Your Best Self life planning series at 8 a.m. on Sundays. And I'm talking about different tips or strategies on how to be your best self or working with high school students. Today, I wanted it to be a little bit different. I wanted it to be more of a discussion with different individuals within the community, different leaders, different adults who work with the youth, superintendents, principals, teachers, social service staff, adults who just volunteer with the youth, especially high school students, individuals from nonprofits. I wanted to come to you all today and use this platform to get some feedback from you all. So if you're here, please let me know. With doing a Facebook Live on a business page, I think it's a little bit different because you really can't tell who's there, who's not there, or it could just be me, operator error. But if it's not a discussion, then I will go ahead and I'll just talk as usual. Thank you so much for the person that just gave me the thumbs up saying that they're here watching. So this is something that's been on my mind for years now, because in my initial post on my personal page, I wrote about the high school height-in project, and that was like my baby. Because I just firmly believe in it, not just because it's something that I've created, but because it is all inclusive. So at this point, I've put on my social work hat and said, hey, we need a service that's going to be all encompassing to help our youth. So it's not good enough just to talk about career planning. It's not good enough just to talk about mentorship. Good morning, Lakeisha. Please, definitely, you're with PAL. Oh my gosh, you have tons and tons and tons of youth that you work with. So please chime in. And since you're here, I want to pose the question to you. Hopefully this doesn't catch you off guard. But just what are some of the things that you feel our youth need? I know PAL offers tons of really great services and programs, but I'm not sure if PAL actually offers a program that goes from, hey, let's talk about what are you good at? What are your interests? Let's connect you with some individuals in that field. Also, the social services component, where, as we know, when we send children back to the same environment, it's a chance that whatever we have done might not stick with them because of their environment, could control them. And in today's society, it might not even necessarily be their environment. It could just be the stuff they're taking into their system. So if there's anything that you like to share that PAL is doing and rocking at in Jacksonville, please, please, please share. So like I was saying, so many different programs in Jacksonville that have different components, but I don't know if there's an actual program that does it all, like literally one stop shop. So when I say one stop shop, let me elaborate. So kids, at least in my opinion, even as adults, we need to have a purpose in life. We need to tap into what our gifts and talents, are. So hopefully, we can do this on a scale with our high school students, or maybe even younger. I'm not sure. I think high school is great, but some people who work with our youth might feel like it has to be done at a younger age. So for those who work with the youth, let me know if you think this is something that's needed at a younger age. Because I personally feel like the same way with adults, when we have a purpose or we have a goal or we have things that we're working towards, then we're more likely to stick with it and affect and do something about it and be more focused on those things because we have something we're working towards. I have the same philosophy about our high school kids. with our high school students, if they had something that they were working on, and not something that we've told them that they need, but we've actually taken the time to talk with them and do a self-assessment with them, not about psychosocial stuff. Yes, you have to get the background, the drug use, the sexual history, the family history, and all that great stuff, because that's part of the psychosocial assessment. And to me, that's something that can be done later. But that's my own opinion. I think that initial meeting needs to simply be about, who is Lakita? What does Lakita like? What is Lakita good at? And even use some of the free assessment tools that's on our Florida Department of Education website for kids to actually get on the computers at different locations if they don't have access to a computer at their home, to do an assessment that's going to give them, if they don't actually know themselves, I think they should go in combination. It should be a self-assessment, and then it should also be a standardized assessment that's used. I personally use Myers-Briggs type indicators, strong interest indicators, inventories, and career reports, but those assessments, as you know, cost. But there are free resources that organizations can use that can accomplish something very similar. Might not be the exact same, but something that'll work for us to actually capture who our children are and what are they good at. And then from that, connect them with additional resources that's going to help them with those particular endeavors, right, that they're already interested in and they're good at. Because if we connect them with something that they're interested in, then they might be more apt to stick with it and be engaged. And from that, connect them with adults who are in those areas of interest. Maybe some one-on-one mentorship, maybe shadowing opportunities. Also, the social services component, that's where the psychosocial and stuff comes in, which most agencies already do. Finding out what's going on in the home. Hey, what can we do to also help your parent? One, talk to the parent about the kid's interests and different things that you're doing at your particular organization to get buy-in from them, and also find out from them, what do they need help with? What are your aspirations? What are those things that you always wanted to do as a young person that you did not have the opportunity to do? What are those things that you see in your kid that for whatever reason you're not able to give it to them, but you would like for us to help them with it? Hey, maybe there's even a component about financial literacy, budgeting. Maybe there could be a food, but basically what I'm saying is what we need is a one-stop shop. So many programs offer one thing, something else. But if we pooled our resources together, because Jacksonville is full of resources for our youth, it's just everyone does something different. So it has to be a way to at least have at least one place that's a one-stop shop. And if someone needs entrepreneurship, they can go to the RISE program with A.M. Butler, or they can look into Shayna Monique's entrepreneur program. If they're interested in vocational programs, they can look at, I think it's called Attila's Vocational School, or partnerships with Florida State College for dual enrollment kind of sort of type of things. So just having that one-stop shop that's going to assess those needs and either provide the services on site or facilitate with other organizations for that youth to get connected to those things and provide that ongoing case management. I know some people don't like the term case management. We can always call it support. But either way, having that person as there as that liaison, as their true advocate, and not someone that's overburdened with like 70 kids on their caseload. I mean, like, no, manageable caseloads where the staff can actually do a good job and give the attention to our youth. So I said all that to say, this is something that's been on my mind for years now. Because like I said, this was my baby in 2015, and it's still my baby I just haven't figured out how to personally get the traction. Thank you, Officer Burton. Glad that you agree. Um, I haven't personally figured out how to get the traction. Like I wrote in my own post on my page, I'm a natural introvert, so I don't have the connections of the higher powers or even the relationships. I'm definitely working on my relationship building abilities, but it's not something that happens overnight, and it is very time intensive to connect with each and every moving body and each and every moving piece in the puzzle. So I decided to take this opportunity to do, instead of doing my regular, I'm going to come on here and give you my great speech of 3 tips. I wanted to make it more of a discussion to get some feedback from individuals who have successful one-stop shop programs, because I don't know everything. So want to get more feedback from individuals. But either way, guess what? We're here, and thank you, Officer Burton, for tuning in. So I guess from here, the next step would be please tag, please share, please comment below if you are watching the replay of this. Let me know who is here in Jacksonville that works with the youth and what you have to offer. I do not mind coming by, talking with you, just if you're open, not saying, like I said, I'm not the expert in everything, but if you're open to additional ideas or how to, I guess, build that bridge and make those connections to, good morning, Shalita, and make those connections to, connect students with other organizations and actually have staff that's able to do it. And when I say able, I mean like they have capacity because they're not extremely like stressed out because their caseloads are so high. Let me know. I know there's a program, I can't think of the name of it, I'm so horrible. I know George Maxey at Newtown. They have the 2-generational program deals with mentorship. I know 100 Black Men has a mentoring program. I know the New Village Project, which I love. Yay, New Village Project. I think it's called a New Village Project, but I've supported them. They do some great things, but all of those programs offer a little piece. I think they have something dealing with leadership. I think some of the funding they give to some nonprofits that do leadership and maybe some tutoring. But we need a one-stop shop that's going to get kids to whatever they particularly need by going to one place, and then they are connected with other programs, or the one program could do everything. But either way, this needs to be a holistic approach. So whatever it is, holistic approach is what is needed. Thank you, Tiffany Williams. It is the My Village Project. Thank you for chiming in. And if you have any feedback about services or programs that's offered in Jacksonville, and if there is currently a one-stop shop, let me know. And if it's not, then you could just type other programs that offer services to youth to see how we could go about connecting kids with everything, because it's not good enough just to give them leadership skills if they're failing in school or their grades are bad. It's not good enough to have leadership skills and you don't know what you want to do with your life. So when you graduate, you're just like me, who graduated from Stanton with no clue, went to college, but still had no clue and didn't have a clue until 10 years later. So it's not good enough to be a leader, but you don't know what you're going to do to earn a living. And then you might just get a job that you hate because you have no clue about who you are, what you like, and what might be a good fit for you, because no one ever talks about it, right? And then tutoring is good. So I'm glad that you're getting straight A's, but how are we going to channel that? It's great to get straight A's, but you still need to be able to do something to provide a living for yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's about us raising our youth to become self-sufficient adults who can pay their bills. And hopefully, in an ideal world, they would like what they do because they've had an opportunity while they were still in high school to kind of explore some things and learn more about them and learn about what opportunities are available. I know even Angie posted something the other day about exposure in regards to the Washington Heights situation. I'm not touching that. I'm not saying whether it's good, bad, or whatever. But what I will say is that I feel like exposure is key. If all you, and it's no offense to those, exactly, Tiffany, cultivating their talents and abilities. Yes, yes, yes. Because if all you know is the Motel 6, and if people stay at the Motel 6, there's nothing wrong with it, okay? But I'm just saying, I'm giving an example, that if you only know about the Motel 6, then you're not going to even think about going to the Marriott or going to another really nice resort, because what you know is the Motel 6. And not saying the Motel 6 is bad, but there are definitely way more hotels that's better, like maybe Holiday Inn, maybe Embassy Suites, Marriott, and then the Kessler Collection, which is like the ultimate, and there's other tons of ultimates. But the point I'm making is, if all you know is Motel 6, then how can we expect you to ever want to go stay at a better hotel? Because all you know is the Motel 6. And once again, not dinging the Motel 6. I'm just saying that there's different levels of it. It's different levels of hotels. And depending on what our kids know, that's going to be what they feel is the mecca of living. And that's why, at least in my opinion, as Tiffany has agreed, yay, cultivating their talents and abilities is essential. And we're going to have their buy-in, because guess what? This is what they already like. This is what they already do. This is what they're already Googling on YouTube and everything else. This is what they do, because this is what they like. And even if it's something that they're not Googling, like for example, I've talked to different kids, and they'll say, oh, I want to be a doctor. And then I'll say, well, what are the requirements to be a doctor? And then they'll say, I don't know, right? But it's like our youth are trained to Google about fashion and reality show stuff and rap stuff. But they don't think to Google how to become a doctor. So we have to retrain our minds to say, hey, the internet is not only something that's used to access all kind of other additional information like fashion and music and lyrics and who's who and gossip and all the other foolishness. It's also a beneficial tool to help you be who you are destined to be and who you want to be. So why don't you Google how to become a doctor? I'm quite sure you can find it out, but our kids just don't, and they're young. So it's up to us to teach them to use the internet as a useful tool and not just for mess. So I've been kind of like all over the place today. This was a not structured presentation like my norm. I do want to say thank you, Officer Burton. Thank you, Shalita. Thank you, Tiffany, for joining in. Please share. Please tag. If you know of other programs that's offered here in our wonderful city of Jacksonville. And yes, we've survived Hurricane Irma, for those who continue to ask about that. Please put in the comments below the different programs, and let's figure out a way to connect our kids. And for me, at the end of the day, the main component, as Tiffany has agreed, is cultivating their talents and abilities, because that's going to get the buy-in from them that we need in order to focus on the grades. Hey, remember you said you wanted to be, an engineer, right? You said you want to be an engineer. So guess what? Hey, let's focus on this tutoring to help you get your grades up or to help you do better in your math and sciences. Hey, you said you wanted to be this. Hey, let's focus on these leadership skills. Hey, you said you wanted to be this. Let's connect you with the mentor. Have you talked to your mentor? Hey, your mentor is going to help you with these different things, because guess what? They've been where you're at. They're currently in the career that you want. So you might want to, work on that relationship with them and just pick their brains for everything they know, because guess what? They are where you want to be. So if they have a purpose and we're cultivating their talents and abilities, then in my mind, they're going to naturally want to do all the other things that's going to be needed in order for them to be successful to reach those ultimate goals. And then you have the social service component, where you're going to connect them with any of the financial resources the family may need, and the buy-in from the family. And I think I use the term parent, but it could be whoever is raising the kid, no matter if it's the aunt, the guardian, the foster care, the friend's family, whoever it is, they also need to be engaged in the process. And I would love, love, love to have more discussions about this. The time is now. It is desperately needed. Our kids need direction, and the TV and the internet has to start raising them and telling them what their self-worth is and what they need to do and how they should live, or they should be a rapper. And I'm not saying rappers are bad. There are some people who are meant to be rappers, but not everybody is going to be a rapper. There's going to be some people who are going to be athletes, no matter if it's football, basketball, baseball, any of them. There are going to be some people that's going to be their lane, but guess what? That's not every kid's lane. And it's up to us as the people who encounter our youth to see, hey, not trying to discourage anybody. So if you want to still play baseball, great. But if you see that they're not great with that, let's see, Tiffany Williams, the Association of Black Social Workers had a project to help young kids develop entrepreneur skills. I haven't been at this past year, but the first young lady who went to the program was awarded a scholarship for more business. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Tiffany. So the National Association of Black Social Workers, and I am a member. And yes, I was not a member, I guess, that year when they had the entrepreneur program, but I am a member this year, and you're correct. Thank you so much for bringing that up. That even the National Association of Black Social Workers has an entrepreneur program where the young lady was awarded a scholarship to further her business. So it's up to us to be honest with who we're working with. Like, for real. Like, let's not just hope on a wing and a prayer. And we don't want to discourage anything. So we want to encourage whatever the kids' interests are, but we also want to take heed of things that we observe about the youth that we're working with that might be a good fit for them or might be of interest to them, or even the assessment tool that was used, remember, at the beginning. Not psychosocial assessment, but the assessment tool that was used to really capture what are they good at and what are their interests. And also just kind of, if they don't have the buy-in for those things, kind of intertwine it, just kind of bring it up. Oh, you remember at the beginning when you did that assessment, hey, what are your thoughts about, learning more about this occupation or that occupation, just so you can be aware of it. Because once again, it's about the exposure. Not necessarily this is what our kids are going to do the rest of their lives, but at least if they're exposed to it, they have a few things to pull out of their toolkit that they might be able to use later in life. And it's based on their natural gifts and talents and who they are. And even if they don't see the full value at that moment, I'm quite sure, as we've all done, hindsight is 2020. We become adults. We see other things or we value things that we might not have valued when we were younger. So I'm Lakita Brooks, the Life Planning Consultant. here to cultivate our youth and hone their natural skills and abilities to help them be their best selves and to become successful adults, and to try to offer some intervention now that's going to help our youth and help us long term with getting our youth to where they need to be. If you know a program in Jacksonville, Florida that offers services to the youth, please comment below. Also, if you know someone who has a true one-stop shop, I would love to know about their program. And let's see how we could connect the dots and get our kids all of the services that they need to help them be successful. I will be talking more about my Oakland Terrace project and the future, where we're going to be doing some of these things, rolling out a pilot program there, and really excited about that. So until next time, be your best self, and please comment below if you are watching the recap. So have a great day.